Yes, I got the message this afternoon that asked me if I was ready. And I had the topic in my mind of what I wanted to speak about. And he asked me what my opening statement was going to be. And I said, let me get back to you on that one. Because I knew what I wanted to speak about. So I ran it in my head because I'm sure most of you know I am a hairstylist. And one of the things I wanted to speak to you about was male pattern baldness. And the reason why I wanted to speak to you about that was because it is not just a male epidemic anymore. Females are experiencing it as well. And several years ago, I got out of the hair industry and went into the mortgage industry. I've been in and out of this business for many years. And I'll never forget when this gentleman, who was my boss, there was all these half cubicles all around, and I'm sitting there in this processing room doing my work, and he comes up and he stands in front of me and just looks at me. I'm standing there looking at him, and he knows I'm a hairstylist by trade. And I keep looking at him, and I'm like, Dave, what do you want? And he goes, what do you think? I said, what do I think about what? And he goes, no, what do you think? I said, about that thing on your head? And he goes, yeah, doesn't it look good? And I said, no. I said, because I know it's on your head. And he was devastated at the moment. And I said, you know, I would suggest to you to wear it one time, or not to wear it one time, and see what kind of reaction you would get. And he was a single man, you know, and definitely was looking for a partner. And he came in 2 days later without it. And I was very impressed. And I told him how much younger he looked without that thing on his head. And I said, you know what? If you maybe even shaved your head, that would be even better. And he did that. And he was so amazed at how many people wanted to touch his head and how much attention he was going to get. And so I started thinking more and more about their male pattern baldness, because as I got older, I was noticing more and more of my friends becoming thinner and thinner. And I started doing some research. I was dating a guy who was an Italian, and he was a very hairy man. And I thought, I remember one day coming up to him when we first got our computers, and I said, can I wax your back? And he goes, sure. And I put the first strip on there, and I pulled it off, and he goes, wow, that wasn't so bad. And I said, yeah, only 4 hairs came off. Oh, I went the wrong way. And he goes, wait a minute, that will be it. And I said, but I got to take off the other one. So he had this nice little victory on the back of his back, and that was it for that. And I started doing research on the whole process. From that point on, I had to accept that this man was going to be a hairy man for the rest of his life. But he was receding really bad on top, and I couldn't understand that. And what I came to realize is that there is what's called dihydrotestosterone, DHT in the more simple terms, which is a high level of testosterone that most men tend to generate as they get older. And everybody loses at least 100 to 150 hairs a day. We women with longer hair, we notice it because it's everywhere. But we grow also at the same time, that hair back. And as I got to thinking about it, I'm like, high levels of testosterone. That's a good thing, actually. I mean, if you got high levels of testosterone, other things are working really, really good. So I thought, you know what? I like men who are receding. And so therefore I will say it's okay. It's so wonderful when I see somebody that has that male pattern baldness. And even if they want to shave their head now, it's like, oh yes, the Telly Savalas of today are wonderful. So my final thing to you, no, it's not my final thing. I can keep going. Okay, so I'm waiting for that light to go off. No, to bring it back down to more reasonable terms, we have to also remember that when we're wearing the ball caps, for women, it's estrogen levels that are the issue. You know, so when their estrogen gets out of balance, you know, you need to incorporate things that are great estrogen producing items, like eating your yams and your apples and different things that are natural for our bodies. For women, usually it's stress levels and different things. Our caffeine intake are also issues. And for men, it's just milk bones. So you just have to stop wearing those hats all the time, or wash your hair really good afterwards, and then accept that, you know what, it's a wonderful thing to have male pattern baldness. So I thank you very much for input.